Let me start this webinar. Let me introduce myself. Myself, Jason Marcia, pursuing my final year MSc Information Security and Digital Forensic in Karunya University. And I am working as a cybersecurity analyst trainee in BCBUZZ Technologies. So here with me are my friends Pooja and Jency would be there throughout this webinar. So let me start by sharing my screen. Penetration testing is simulating a cyber attack against your computer system to find out, to check for the exploitable vulnerabilities. So, penetration testing is also known as pen testing, ethical hacking. So, in penetration testing, the ethical hacker would put themselves as a threat actor, would put themselves in the shoes of an attacker and test the organizational network for vulnerabilities and threats that would pose any risk to the organizational data or network. So it basically is the simulation of a cyber attack against your computer system to find out the vulnerabilities of it, and it helps in enhancing the security of an application. So basically, by finding out the vulnerabilities and coming up with solutions, documented actions that could remediate those threats, help us increase the security of an application. And network owners will define a pen testing scope that could specify what systems are eligible for testing and the test time frame. So determining scope sets a guideline and sets the tone and limitation for what the testers can and cannot do. After a scope and a framework has been established, the ethical hacker get to work in different ways using different tools and techniques. The ethical hackers would use same tools and techniques like actual hacker or a malicious actor to find out and exploit the vulnerabilities in a system. So it helps us in early detection of flaws, enabling the security team to remediate any gaps, thus preventing any data breach that could cost billions of dollars otherwise. So it's important, whenever before starting the pen testing, it is important to remember that we have to take an ethical perspective with everything we do in cybersecurity in penetration testing. The benefits of penetration testing are, it helps us in identifying vulnerabilities. Pen testing can help the organization find any weakness in their system that they might not have otherwise, that they might not know that they exist. So ethical hackers, pen testers would help in finding out those vulnerabilities of the network. And it helps us in complying with regulations. We would have came across many regulations like PCI DSS to secure the payment data, and HIPAA for protecting the health information, and GDPR regulation for protecting the personal data. So penetration testing helps the organization to comply with those data and privacy regulations, and it can help us improve the security measures, helps the organization to understand where they have to improve their defensive measures to ensure that the information that they are provided are safe enough, and it provides an insight into the security posture of an organization, helps us to provide quantitative as well as a qualitative examples of the current security posture. These are the benefits of pen testing. And next would be types of penetration testing. In terms of types of penetration testing, there are mainly three types: black box testing, white box testing, and gray box testing. So if we take black box, it is also referred like as an external penetration testing. So in case of black box, the attacker or the ethical hacker pen tester would have no or little information about the network and the security system. They won't have any knowledge of the organizational network or how the network structure is. So black box text often used to simulate an actual cyber attack on a network to find out the vulnerabilities. The main disadvantage of this is it is time consuming, but it involves mimicking the real world cyber attacks. Test will start from the outside network where the attacker does not know about the security or the defensive mechanisms of the organizational network. So this is kind of a blind attack, and it is time consuming. And the second one would be white box testing. In this, the tester will have a complete knowledge of the network infrastructure and the security systems in place. These tests are not like black box. They won't like mimic an actual real world cyber attack, but instead they are one of the most thorough type of test you have to perform you can have performed. Oh, it helps us in simulating what an inside attack may look like. Since the tester starts inside the network with the insider knowledge of how the network is structured, white box testing can be completed quickly. It's like effective, and it's like a transparent in nature. Helps us the enterprise organization with many applications to test. And the third one would be gray box testing. Gray box testing is a blend of both black box testing and white box testing. It In this test, the tester will have partial access or the knowledge into the company's network infrastructures and network. Is often used for when testing a specific public facing application with a private server backend. With the combined information, the attacker can attempt to exploit the specific services to gain the unauthorized access into other parts of the network. This is gray box testing. So, penetration testing, the penetration test don't have to encompass like an entire network and focus on the specific, but it can focus on like a specific application or a specific network area rather than on the entire company's network as a whole. Um, by doing this, the organization can make implement the necessary remediation after a set of small pen test has been completed. um, the company can conduct penetration testing on various areas like web applications, wireless networks, the physical infrastructure, or the social engineering. There are many things that the penetration testing can focus on and find out those vulnerabilities in that specific part to remediate it quickly. These are the phases of 5 phases of pen testing. First is reconnaissance. This basically involves gathering information about various sites, like before conducting an actual pen testing or an attack over the network. This involves gathering relevant information from that about the target network. This information can be used to define the scope and the goals of testing and the testing methods, the tools and the techniques that are going to be used in the testing. And the second is scanning. This involves Scanning involves finding out open ports, the IPs, and broken access control, like many vulnerabilities. This involves the attacker would basically send target probes for the target, and based on the response from the target, the attacker can determine whether the port is open or closed, whether the firewall is working like this or not. That's how it works. The third is gaining access. In gaining access, the attacker would gain access over the organizational network by exploiting a specific vulnerability and gaining access over the network infrastructure. And the fourth would be maintaining access. In this, the attacker would do necessary steps to maintain their access to their network infrastructure by implementing backdoors or trojans or some maybe they can gain control over the web shell or something like that. And the last would be covering tracks and reporting would come under the step, where they would cover all the tracks or the traces of their access, their presence, and reporting will happen in the last stage. The first stage, as I said, is it involves information gathering. It is also called as footprinting. It can be passive or active. In case of passive, the attacker won't directly communicate with the or attack the target network, and in case of active, it would create an active attack or something in order to gain an information about the target network. So the collected data will be used to intrude into the system and decide the attack type and the tools and techniques that are going to be used to attack the target network. Information like domain name, IP address, namespace, email ID, and various other information can be found using this method. So this is the basic first method, which is essential in whatever penetration testing we are doing, whether in case of web application, web servers, or other things also. These are all the few methods that I have listed out in case of reconnaissance. Crawling is surfing the internet, just simply putting out a name or the domain name and searching out the relevant information that we can gather from the net. Like second is the whois. Whois helps with finding out the informations like email registration or when the registration was done. Such information can be found out using whois tool. And search engines like Google, Bing, and many search engines can be used to collect relevant data about the target domain. And trace route is the fourth thing. It will help us find the path between the user and the target system on the network. And netcraft tool, this tool helps us gather information about the web servers on both the client side and the server side. And the next is ns lookup. It helps us querying the dns server to extract the information. And the next would be the harvester, which is used to find the emails that have been registered under a selective domain name and the other subdomains that have been registered under a certain domain. So these are all the basic relevant methods of reconnaissance.
Good evening, all. Myself, Pooja K. Raji, final year MSc Information Security and Digital Forensic, student at Karunya University, and currently working at Cybersecurity Analyst Trainee in BCBUZZ Technologies. Okay, I am going to take the topic Target Enumeration and Vulnerability Scanning. We can talk about target enumeration. Target enumeration is the process of collecting detailed information about computers, network, and systems in a specific environment. It's like a detailed map of all the devices and services in a network, which helps identify potentially weak spots. That is, we can go through these topics. What is in the scope? That is defining the boundaries of the target environment that can be analyzed. This I will explain with an example. If a company authorizes a penetration test, they may specify that only certain networks, servers, or applications are in scope, while others are off limit. Like they will be giving a boundary in between that, like who all can access that or who all can deny it. Then next one is what information is already on the internet. Publicly available information about the target. This is we can also call this as open source intelligence, OSINT. We can go through some examples: social media posts, public DNS records, website metadata, etc. The common tools used for this is Shodan, Google Docking, etc. Next is looking for all hosts or network devices. Identifying all devices like computer, server, router, etc. connected to the network. In this, we are using common tools used as Nmapper, Angry IP Scanner, or Ping Sweeps can find active devices. This will help creating a comprehensive list of devices to focus on during the assessment. Looking for all applications and login prompt. Next one is looking for all applications and login prompt. In this, locating all web applications, APIs, or software running on this system, as well as places where users enter credentials. In this example, it's like identifying a web app running on port 80 with a login page as admin. This is one of the example for this. And in this, the tools are using is Nikto, Derber, Burbsuit, etc. helps to identify these things. Then looking for all usernames and passwords. Collecting or guessing user credentials that may give access to the system. They can collect and also they can guess the combinations of passwords which it may help to access to the system. In passive reconnaissance is the process of gathering information about a target but without directly interacting with it. It's like what observing a building. We can tell as an example. It's like observing a building from a distance to learn about its layout and security measures rather than trying to open its door. Like we are observing it from far without a physically going and not opening the door directly. In this, we can go through some applications. Not touching the target system directly. That is the OSINT. That is an example of OSINT. In passive reconnaissance, relies on publicly available information about direct interaction with the target system to gather intelligence stealthily examples. They are not touching the target directly. And the next one is DNS. Using DNS tool, you can uncover domain-related information, such as subdomains, mail servers, IP addresses, which provide insight into a target's infrastructure. The next one is queries. It's a queries reveal details about domain ownerships, then including registrant names, contact informations, registration dates, etc. Then GeoIP. GeoIP tools identify the geographically location of IP address. It will identify the IP address location, helps determine the physical location of servers or devices also. Reverse IP. Next one is reverse IP. Reverse IP lookup finds other domains hosted on the same server as the target, potentially exposing related systems. Active reconnaissance is the process of directly interacting with the target system to gather information. But in the case of passive reconnaissance, this approach involves sending requests or probes to the target directly. But in the case of passive, it was not like that. In this, we can go through some applications like touching the target system. We have to touch the target system. Like active reconnaissance involves direct interaction with the target system. It increases the chances of detection. But in the case of active, it will reduce the chances of detection. Then traceroute and ping. In this tool help identify the network path and confirm if the target is reachable. Network scanning. Network scanning scans are used to discover active devices, open ports, and some services on the target network. Next one is Nmapper. A powerful tool for network scanning used to map networks, detect open ports, and identify running services, etc. Then next one is vulnerability scanning. Actively probes systems to identify known vulnerabilities in software or configuration. It will actively probe system to identify known vulnerabilities. The vulnerabilities they knows that will be only identifying in using this vulnerability scanning. Then meta exploit. It is a penetration testing framework that can exploit vulnerabilities to test a system security. It will it is a framework, not a tool. Application enumeration. Application enumeration is a process of identifying and gathering detailed information about a applications running on a target system or networks. This phase focus on understanding the applications, its functionalities, version, and potential entry points for vulnerabilities also. In this, the application SMB share and workstation enumeration. This is a process involving identifying shared resources like files or printers and workstations on the network using SMB. SMB, the full form of SMB is server message block protocol. Next one is Nmap scripts. Nmap offers built-in scripts. Nmap scripting engine. It is known as NSE, Nmap scripting engine that automated scanning tasks such as discovering vulnerabilities, services or configurations. For this, we are using the command we are mostly using it nmap ---- script smb vulner start like that the command is. Then next one is web page. A web page enumeration involves discovering and analyzing web pages for hidden directories, forms, or application vulnerabilities. Next one is DERB, a directory brute forcing tool used to find hidden directories or files on a web servers. And NICTOM, that is a web server scanner that it can detect known vulnerabilities, configuration issues, and potential security holes in a web application. Vulnerability scanning is a process of using automated tools to identify security weakness in a system, network, or applications. The goal is to detect vulnerabilities that could be exploited by attackers, allowing organization to patch or mitigate them before they are exploited. Network fundamentals refers to the basic. It refers to the basic concepts and the components that make up computer networks, allowing devices to communicate with each other. These fundamentals are critical for understanding how data travels, how devices are connected, and how network protocols are functioning. Here given a figure, three-way handshaking connection. In network fundamentals, there are network types. Network types are coming under that, like network type LAN, WAN, like local area network, wide area network, metropolitan area network, etc. Then OSI models are also coming under this. Okay, then in network fundamentals, the OSI models are coming under network fundamentals. In that OSI models, first one will be physical layer, then data link layer, network layer, transport layer, session layer, presentation layer, application layer, etc. UDP and TCP in network fundamentals, one important is UDP and TCP protocols. So these two are protocols. In UDP, it is user datagram protocol. it is a connectionless protocol. That means UDP doesn't establish a connection because data transfer makes it faster, but it will be less reliable. TCP, transmission control protocol. As compared to UDP is connectionless, but in the case of TCP, it is connection oriented. It is establishing connection before transmitting the data. Okay, we can go to the three-way handshaking connection. Three-way handshaking connection. First, they are sending SYN. SYN means synchronize. They are sending a SYN packet. That packet to the server. There is a client, there is a server. They are for connection request. They are sending a SYN packet to the server. To initiate the connection. This packet will be containing their sequence numbers, for the to indicate the client's sequence numbers. Then the client, after sending the packet, the server will send an sync plus acknowledgement to the client. Numbers that acknowledgement includes the numbers and include its own sequence numbers, etc. Then they will again send an acknowledgement that the packet received and confirming the server's SYN acknowledgement. Okay. Next are scan types. TCP scan connect scanner. It is a nmap-st for short form of TCP. This can attempt to complete a full TCP handshake, and TCP stealth scanner. This can only send a SYN packets to the open ports. Then UDP scanner hyphen SU. UDP ports or the target system by sending UDP packets. It will send UDP packets. Then FIN scanner. FIN is full form of short form of finish. This packets to determine open ports. Then no ping, it will disable host discovery, causing Nmap to skip the pin test. And version detection, it will detect the version of services running, etc. In this challenges, the first point is bad name and causes outage. That is incorrectly naming or configuring a scan it will lead to misidentification, and that is known as bad names, like incorrectly naming. It will lead to misidentification. It will cause network to disruptions or outages. Run out of hours. It will exceed the allocated time. Exceed the allocated time limits. It can also lead to incomplete assessment or missed vulnerabilities, etc. Then network segmentation. Segmentation scans may not detect vulnerabilities in segments parts of the network. It may not detect the vulnerabilities, leading to it will lead to the gaps in security coverages. Next one is bandwidth and resource consideration. It is like when we are doing a heavy scans, that scans can consume excessive bandwidth and resource. That is bandwidth and resource consideration. Oh, these are all the portions I covered. Thank you. And these are all about target enumeration and vulnerability scanning. Now I hand over to Jency. She will continue this section.
Hello everyone, myself Jency, MSc ISDF student in Karna University. Currently I'm working as a cybersecurity analyst trainee in BCBUZZ technology. So I'm going to explain about the topics exploitation and report writing in pentesting. Exploitations. Exploitation is the process of identifying vulnerabilities to gain unauthorized access or escalate privileges. After vulnerability discovered in pen testing through scanning or manual testing, likewise, exploitation techniques are used to validate those weaknesses by attempting to leverage them. Goals of exploitation. It demonstrates the potential consequences of a successful attack, like showing the impact a real world attacker could achieve if a vulnerability is exploited. Then provide recommendations to mitigate the risk. It's deliver actionable solution to reduce or eliminate the risk of exploitation. Then identifying and demonstrate potential vulnerabilities in a target system. It highlight weaknesses that could be exploited and validate their extensions through controlled testing. Then the important thing, these are the important thing in the exploitation. First of all, identifying and exploit. In pen testing, identifying and exploiting vulnerability, it's a main thing. By using several tools and approaches, pen tester used to gather information about the target system, uh, such as exploit and potentials, create custom exploits. Likewise, the tools they used are nmaps, search exploit, exploit database. Likewise, they used to identify and exploit. Then the second thing is devices to exploit, services to exploit. There are various services by using a pen tester to, to exploit the organization security of an organization infrastructures. Likewise, HTTP, SMB, DNS, etc. By using these services, a common attack vendor pen tester can identify weaknesses in a network and uh, services to focus on during testing. Properly securing these services, such as disabling SMBV1 using strong SNMB community strings and regular patching system, is essential for defending against exploitation attempts. Then the system attacks. It's commonly seen penetration testing and network security. There are patch dash, uh, NAC bypass, like a network access control bypass, likewise spoofing, man in the middle. By using this, we can attack the uh, system can wait. So attack methods and implementation approaches, countermeasures. Organizations can better protect their networks from these type of system attacks. Then wireless attack. This is exploit vulnerabilities in wireless technologies, particularly Wi-Fi networks. Uh, the attacks are like evil twin, deauthentications attack, uh, PNL, like a preferred network list, likewise, etc. These attacks are some of the most common and critical threat to organizations as they target publicly accessible systems, often providing attackers with a path to sensitive data or network. Web applications attacks are we already know SQL injection, cross-site scripting, cross-site request forgery, command injections, likewise, etc. These are the gateway to an organization's critical access, making them a top target for attackers. By understanding the common attack vendors and implementing proper security controls, organizations can reduce the risk of successful web applications attacks and minimize the potential damage for a breach. Then vulnerable training applications. These are the essential resource for practicing penetration testing, ethical hacking, and cybersecurity skills in a controlled legal environment. Some of the platforms provide hands-on experience by simulating real-world vulnerabilities and attack scenarios that allow user to safely explore, exploit, and mitigate security flaws. Likewise, World Hub is a platform provide a collections of vulnerable virtual machine VMs for user to practice penetration testing techniques. Likewise, OVAX WebGoat, uh, like DLV games of hacks, Metasploit hacks this. These are excellent resource for anyone looking to improve their penetration testing, ethical hacking, and cybersecurity skills. By practicing on these platforms, user can gain the hands-on experience needed to identify, exploit, mitigate vulnerabilities in real-world system. So next is vulnerable VMs. VMs is a virtual machine. While using VMs, we have to check the NAT network. By using NAT network is a vulnerable. It's allowed communicate with each other to attacking or testing vulnerable. And the same thing for bridge mode. At the same using both mode uh, for internal and external thing. Uh, it's like a example like launching exploits or test. So general best practice are snapshot, host firewall, update virtual machine testing tools, likewise etc. in VMs. Web application exploits. It's a common thing. Common tools and techniques and is there like SQL injection, blind SQL injections, common injections, shell injections, likewise etc. By using these authentications, by using this is the web applications exploits the vulnerable. Then authentication. It's authentication exploits is targeting by attackers by brute force attack, online attack, offline attack, session hijacking, likewise etc. Uh, then web application logic exploit. It's a attacker used to manipulate the functionality or behavior or web application by using parameter tampering, cross-site request forgery, tab stabbing, stab nabbing. Then using this attacker can manipulate the functionality or behavior of an applications. Then privilege escalations in Unix and Windows. In Unix, privilege escalation exploit target vulnerability that allow a user like often a low privilege account to gain higher level access like a root privilege. It bridges the gap no, it's used the common tools like Linux exploit suggester, like etc. in Unix. In Windows, it exploit weakness or misconfiguration to gain higher privileges such as administrative or system level access by using power up, bloodhound, likewise etc. Then report writing. Uh, in penetration testing, report is not just a deliverable thing, it's a strategic document that bridge the gap between technical findings and business decision making. That demonstrates the value of the penetration testing efforts that provides a roadmap for mitigating vulnerabilities. Think about like this: you may uncover critical issues during a test, but if your report is unclear, too technical or lack actionable recommendations, the impact of the work will be lost. Remember, your audience may range from IT professionals to executives with minimal technical knowledge. Therefore, your report must cater to multiple stakeholders. This is the report structure. First one is executive summary. It highlights overview intended for non-technical stakeholders, include overall risk rating, business impact of these vulnerabilities, brief mention of the methodologies used. Then introductions. Uh, it provide content about the engagement, including the purpose and goal of the test. Target environment. In this, they mention the detailed scope of the engagement, including systems, networks, and applications tested. Method overview. It's include the methodologies and tools used during the test, like Nmap, Metasploit, etc. Summary of finding. In this, highlight the key vulnerabilities and their associated risk. Then it prioritize finding based on their severity and business impact. Then method and stages. It provide a detailed account of the testing process, include screenshots and evidence of the method used to identify vulnerabilities. Then recommendations. It prioritizes recommendations based on their severity. Conclusions. It summarizes the outcomes of the penetration testing. Appendix is a sections support your findings without overwhelming the main report. Thank you all for attending this webinar. Let me know whether you have any queries in the chat.